What's up guys, it's Darren Jackson. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for stopping by. And yes, Forest Road strikes again. And it's funny because I'm pretty late to this. It's already IPO'd into the stock market, but good news. If you are new to this whole Forest Road thing or didn't know Forest Road 2 was out or you're just waiting for me to make a video about it, then here it is. But I'm gonna leave a lot of timestamps below because I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that have been following my channel since I made the first video about Forest Road 1, which thank you by the way. So you understand the excitement that I probably have right now. So with that being said, just make sure you click one of the timestamps if you wanna fast forward. Otherwise, if you don't, then let's get started. So let's take it all the way back to the beginning. So Forest Road is a finance-based company. What they do is they basically lend money to other companies to help them do whatever they need to do to achieve. And they typically focus on a couple of sectors. Those sectors are entertainment, real estate, and renewable energy. And mid last year, I actually heard about this company and that they would be entering the stock market with a SPAC, or a special purpose acquisition company. By the way, guys, a SPAC is essentially a company that enters the stock market with the sole purpose of acquiring another company that wants to enter the stock market, but not through an IPO, which can cost them a lot more money and take a lot longer. They want to make money as quickly as they possibly can. So these reverse mergers happen with that company and SPAC. So that was their goal. And they wanted to target companies in a specific sector, which I'll talk about in a second. But what gained my interest in that is around that time, I was starting to learn more about SPACs and the fact that they happen more often than I thought. I was just getting over the Vector IQ merger, which created Nikola Motors, and I was just talking about the Taurus acquisition merger, which is now Hyliion Holdings. And regardless of what you want to say about those companies, if you invested into them prior to the merger or even at the beginning of the announcement, you made a lot of money. So I was really interested in the opportunity to potentially make money before they've even announced anything, right when they IPO'd as a SPAC. Now, Forest Road was their first announcement, and that IPO'd in the middle of last year, and their goal was to target companies within the TMT sector, meaning telecommunications, media, and technology. I actually think you switched the T's, but that's pretty much what it is. What's really interesting about that is I actually said in one of the videos I talked about with Forest Road is that this would be the most speculative play that I've ever made. Again, I really hate saying that word. It's the most spec play I would have ever made because there's really not much to go by except who they're going for, what their resume is, which I believe wasn't anything at that point, and who the board of directors are. And that's what got me. So the board of directors, which I'm not gonna go into major detail on, if you want that information, I'll leave the video link down below. I'm gonna leave a lot of video links down below. But they're all Disney execs. And the names you're gonna hear more probably in this video are Tom Skaggs and Kevin Mayer. Especially Kevin Mayer, who is also a former CEO of TikTok, so he understands relevancy, which I feel like is important for that one, and this new SPAC that's gonna be acquired, or it's actually already in the stock market. And what also got me really interested is their strategic advisory board. And one name in particular, that name being Shaquille O'Neal. Now, I'm not gonna talk about how amazing he was as a center in the NBA, but his investing resume is pretty great. He's on the board of Papa John's and other companies like Krispy Kreme and et cetera, et cetera. Again, that's in another video if you want to check that out. But basically, his investing experience made me more intrigued and it made me more comfortable into investing into this company before they even acquired anything, because if he has the investment resume that he has along with everyone else and he's being acquired on this team to give his vocal opinion, he also must know a lot more than people like you and me as just regular retail investors. So why not give this a chance? And great news, they actually announced an acquisition with a company called Beachbody, which is an on-demand fitness company, and another company called Myx Fitness, which is a competitor of Peloton, being a cycling company. They actually have a bit of the favor of being a little bit cheaper. So that acquisition is going on. And shortly after, in February of this year, they announced Forest Road 2. Okay, so this is the part where hopefully everybody's watching, because either a lot of you watched and didn't know anything about Forest Road, or you skipped to this point, so welcome back. So Forest Road Acquisition 2 announced that they would be entering the stock market back in February 18th, I believe. And by the way, guys, whenever they announced that, I knew they weren't gonna be available on all platforms like Robinhood and other stuff like that. And I'm explaining that why in a bit, so just keep a lookout. But anyway, this company is going to be searching for similar companies such as Forest Road 1 with the TMT sector, except they're going to be adding a C at the end. So they're going to be looking for companies within the technology, media, telecommunications, and consumer sector. And no, I will not be guessing, because I tried to guess last time, at least the broad generalization of what they're going to be looking for, and I was really wrong, but still pretty satisfied. So that's what's happening with that. As far as the financial aspects go, they announced that they're going to be entering the stock market with $350 million raised, which is actually $100 million more than what Forest Road Acquisition 1 entered with, and $50 million more than what they were going to do originally. So that's pretty cool, and keeps me interested on how much money they're going to raise later on from people investing into it. Now, the specific details with that is that there are going to be 35 million shares in the stock market, Class A shares. So they'll each be worth $10 a share, which again is very similar to Forest Road 1. And now for every share that you buy, you also get 1/5 of a warrant. When I first talked about a warrant after doing like 5 minutes of research, I basically said that it sounds like a warrant is an option that you don't do through a brokerage app, but you have to have a connection with the company themselves and the board of directors. That's essentially what it is. So just to quickly define, a warrant is just like an option that you would do on a brokerage app. And the most common type of warrant is a call warrant, which is very similar to buying a call option. So a callable warrant gives you the right but not the obligation to purchase a stock at a particular price within a given period of time or by the expiration date. Now, from my experience with SPACs that offer a callable warrant, that price is going to be at $11.50. That's how it was with Forest Road 1, and that's how it is now. So what that basically means is when you exercise it, if you choose to, you'll be able to purchase that stock for $11.50. And it benefits both parties. So obviously it benefits the consumer just the same way buying a call option would. So for example, if I bought a call option for company X and I said that within 5 days, this company that's now $3 a share is going to hit $5 a share. As long as it hits at least $5, I'm going to exercise my right to buy 100 shares of that. And let's say within 5 days, it shoots up to $500. I don't know how, but it did. I get to buy 100 shares of that company at $500 per share, but it's only going to cost me $5 a share because that was the strike price. The strike price for this company is $11.50. So the benefit that we have as investors is that before the expiration date for these warrants, if Forest Road Acquisition 2 or FRXB actually exceeds $11.50, then we're getting a discount, which means we're going to profit more. Now, as far as the company goes, it benefits them because it's a lot cheaper for them to raise money that way than to issue bonds by saying, hey, let us borrow some of your money and I promise by this period of time, we're gonna pay you back and give you interest. Also, it gives them the opportunity to technically have more shares within the stock market without really having shares within the stock market. With that being said, I just kind of introduced the ticker symbol, but the ticker symbol at this point in time is FRXB.U. The U means units. So a unit is essentially a stock that's made up of two different stocks, like Class A or preferred shares or something like that. In this case, each share that you buy is part Class A common stock, like a stock that gives you voting rights, like most stocks, and a warrant. In this case specifically, for every one share you buy, you get one full regular stock of common stock and 1/5 of a warrant. And if there's 30 million shares out there, that means there's 7 million warrants out there. At this point in time, there's only certain brokerages that allow units to be sold, that .U, and other companies like Public, that I've talked about a lot, and Robinhood, which I primarily use, don't allow that. But from what I see from the brokerages that I use, it looks like Webull may offer it, and it definitely looks like Fidelity does offer warrants or units so you can invest in right now. Otherwise, just like Forest Road did, you can wait until they split up to Forest Road B or FRXB and FRXB.WS or .W, maybe one of those two. One's going to be the common stock that'll be available on all those other apps, and the other one's going to be the warrant side of that, which you can exercise by the expiration date, which will only be allowed on other brokerage apps, the same ones that have the main ticker symbol right now. As far as how I feel about it, it's a bit different from how I felt about Forest Road 1. With Forest Road 1, as I kind of said at the beginning of the video, I was a little more reluctant because, again, I said that this is probably going to be the biggest guess that I've ever made as an investor at this point, because the only thing I can go by is that they are a company. They don't seem to have any experience entering the stock market as a SPAC. but they have a great team of board of directors, and based off their experiences, people like Tom Skaggs and his experience with Disney, and Kevin Mayer and his extensive experience with Disney and with TikTok and other social media companies, and acquiring people like Martin Luther King III, who's also going to be on the strategic board, and Shaquille O'Neal and his investment resume and his connection with athletes, that made me a lot more intrigued to see what could happen with this on top of the opportunity to make more money. But after seeing what they did, announcing a merger or a reverse merger with Beachbody and Myx Fitness, targeting a company that is thriving, especially in this period of time with everything that's going on. A lot of people at the beginning weren't going to gyms that often, but they wanted to bring the gyms home to them. Tried going on academy.com the middle of last year looking for the Bowflex dumbbells where you could adjust the size, because they either weren't available or they were a lot more expensive than they should be. So they're aware of that. And even if we get to a level of normalcy, there's still a lot of people that are probably not going to go out and do things that they used to. The definition of comfort has been redefined for a lot of people. So they're still probably gonna be doing workouts at home. So acquiring an on-demand at-home studio company such as Myx Fitness and Beachbody, which is responsible for companies like Insanity and P90X, I feel like was a great move. On top of that, at November of 2020, which I'm sure was fairly shortly after they announced that reverse merger, they raised over $265 million, and which I'm sure some of that money is being used towards this acquisition. So I can't imagine what they're gonna do next. Basically, they created a resume, and I have that to go by. And it seems like they're trying to do a lot. That merger hasn't happened, and they're already doing this. So there's something that they have planned, including the companies that they want to look into. So with all that being said, I'm really excited about this. I'm not sure if I'm going to invest in FRXB.U to gain some warrants, but I might, because I'm actually really interested to see how that process is. A lot of you guys that watched those previous videos talked to me about warrants and about how you invested into them and what actually happened when you did. So maybe I'll do that, and I'll share with you guys what actually happened with those warrants, if they actually worked out for me or not, depending on if that stock price goes up by whatever expiration date is set, which hasn't seemed to be announced yet, at least from what I can tell. But let me know, guys, what do you guys think about Forest Road 2 and this announcement, or Forest Road 1? Did you actually invest into those? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you haven't seen any of those videos, I'll leave them down below. Hopefully you caught them when they pulled up on this video. And speaking of videos, make sure you guys watch some of these other videos, which I hope help you guys out on your investing journey as they have in mine. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch, and until next time, take care.